Good day and welcome back to another Dbz Dokkan Metal video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at how you can beat all the bosses of the Special Edition Virtual Dokkan Ultimate Clash and basically take a look at all of them after we beat Zamasu. So we'll go through how to beat Zamasu, then discuss the tactics and team building I used for each and every other boss near the end of the video. So if you're looking for that, you can skip ahead, otherwise we'll take on Zamasu. Zamasu is immune to sealing, stunning, and attack lowering, and he reduces damage, but he also fires multiple super attacks. He will transform as well when you defeat the first phase, and he lowers attack on his super attacks. So it's very much a war of attrition against Zamasu, and so I felt the Extreme Tech team was best suited for this. Why the Extreme Tech team? Well, we have First Form Cell, who's fantastic when it comes to healing. He heals us on his 12 key, which is very crucial. We also have the heals from Frieza, Transforming Frieza, who's fantastic. We have some tanky options in the form of Janemba and the Tech Golden Frieza. And we have units like Zamasu who can become quite tanky as well. Now, if you don't have these units, there are some suitable alternatives. It's just going to depend on how you want to build your team. Remember, I use full mono teams to beat my Ultimate Clash. I always find it to be easiest. So it's just going to depend on how you feel. Now, this team felt like it worked relatively well. It can get caught out early on, but once you get past the initial phases, you're generally quite good, because you're quite strong when it comes to a couple things. You can heal up a lot of the damage he does to you. Between Frieza and First Form Cell, we heal up a lot each turn. Also, in terms of defense, we have some very strong options. Between having Golden Frieza and having as well Demon King Piccolo, who can also have a high level of tankiness, and on top of that we also have the Tech 17 and 18, who are default tanky for this first phase due to their ability to absorb Ki Blast supers. So this puts us in a pretty good situation. We get to build up over time, and our ideal partnerships for this first phase are the 17 and 18 alongside either Demon King Piccolo or Janemba. And on the other rotation, ideally we want to start building up Zamasu whilst sticking them alongside the First Form Cell. That gives us the ability to heal and build up our defensive tanks whilst we are in this first phase. When Zamasu transforms, he then becomes a physical based unit that will fire physical based super attacks, and this will change our rotations slightly, because obviously now we are in the situation whereby we are a little bit different in terms of what we want out of the team. So that's something to, obviously facilitate. But yes, basically beyond that, we're pretty much ready to go. We're going to skip ahead a little bit so that we can obviously just get a good idea. You should have a decent idea of first phase. Zamasu here. But yeah, we're going to skip ahead a little bit to the point where we change over to the other Zamasu, so you can kind of see that now. And yes, he's going to turn into his, I guess, corrupted merge Zamasu form. He goes from Fusion Zamasu to Fusion Zamasu, I guess. Not really quite understanding that. But yes, now this one, what we do here is we're going to switch Frieza into the main rotation alongside Janemba. They don't link very well, but the thing is, with him changing over to Ki or to physical based supers, having the 17 and 18s not as viable because they don't defend as supers naturally. And of course as well, what happens is we want the healing from Frieza. Priority is his healing more so than anything else. So yes, we have that all going for us. So that's the one change our rotation, whereas the other rotation pretty much stays the same. We do have the Demon King Piccolo, who's going to transform now as well, and now he can replace Janemba on the other rotation if need be. So you do have some decent options there. Once he transforms, he has an unconditional 58% damage reduction, and this is fairly good. It's going to help us out across the board and leave us in a pretty good situation. So yeah, overall these are just the small changes and the fluctuations that I would make to obviously facilitate our team. Yeah, it's gonna depend a lot on your roster of units. Maybe a super team is better for you. But what I would suggest is be prepared for a bit of a longer fight. Bring heals, bring interrupts, Those are very effective. Bring revive skills if possible. I think those are also going to be very helpful. They tend to always be something, that's quite helpful, so I always suggest that you bring those as well. And yeah, just in general, for me, I would say those are probably the priority builds, at least at this point in time. I would say anything you can do to give yourself some form of, preservation, healing, defense, etc., I think is going to run you very well. So that's it. We managed to obviously defeat Zamasu pretty nicely. And now we look obviously at the builds for all of the other bosses, which is going to be pretty interesting. So there are 9 other bosses as per usual. For the first fight, we are not going to be using a mono team, but for every other fight, we will be using a mono team. So just keep that in mind. So for the first fight, we're looking at Trunks. Trunks is immune to stunning, and he receives reduced damage. Here we just ran the Team Bardock team, and that felt pretty good. Next is Gohan, or Future Gohan. He is the same as Trunks, however has additional damage reduction against extreme enemies. He will also transform or revive when you defeat him, so you have 2 phases there, although he's not too difficult. In round 2, we start off with Mai, who has the ability to be immune to stunning, attack and defense reduction, and reduces damage received. She also can stun you with her super, but you should be fine. Brings sealing for a lot of these bosses. It's going to be very helpful across the board for all of them. After Mai, we have SS Trunks, who again is obviously immune to stunning. He has the ability to not have his attack and defense lowered, and he reduces damage received. We use Captain Ginyu as our sealer, and everything was pretty simple from there. Nothing too crazy in terms of super attack effects for Trunks. Then Goku Black came along, and he's the same as the other ones, immune to stunning, attack and defense lowering, reduces damage received. However, he also lowers your defense on his super. So he's a little bit frustrating, so make sure that you bring a sealer. Then we have in round 3, we start off with Trunks here. Trunks is the same as before. However, he is also similar to Gohan in that he reduces damage received from extreme units, and he does a big Sword of Hope attack. So you need to make sure you seal him before he fires off that attack, otherwise he's going to do some big damage to you. You can survive it, it's not a one-hit KO, but it does quite a big chunk of damage. Next, we have Vegito. Vegito can fire multiple supers and will raise his attack and defense. He's immune to all of the same things as before, but you can seal him. So sealing him is your #1 prime goal, and you need to make sure that you do that quite early on, because if he raises his attack and defense, he can start to cause some real damage. We then have Rose, who's the exact same as Vegito, except instead of raising his attack and defense, he will lower your defense. So he's a little bit irritating in that regard. However, we have a very strong free-to-play physical team that can take him on relatively easily. And then finally we have Zamasu, who is the same as all the others. So sealing is #1 priority here, except he will lower your defense massively upon his super. So keep your eyes out for that. And that should keep you up to date with everything you need to know, cover you for everything. And yeah, give me a shout if you're still struggling afterwards. I'll gladly help you in the comments. But until then, as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. And take care, stay safe, and yeah, pretty good stuff. Nice rewards as well. Bye.